Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another brand new episode of the Collider Games podcast. My name is Destin. I'm here with, first, from South Africa,
Josh Weyers.
And also in Canada, we've got the return of Caboose. Caboose, you're back. We haven't seen you in a while.
Back. My triumphant return. And we're going to talk about Spider-Man of all things. So that's pretty sweet. I'm super excited to be back.
PS5 reveal. But yeah, we got an international show here. I'm in America. So 3 different countries representing today. How you been, Caboose? With all, because me and Josh, first 5 or 10 minutes of every show, we're talking about lockdowns and protests and all kinds of stuff. How are you doing?
I'm good. I mean, as good as we can be, obviously, under the circumstances. I've been quarantining like everybody. Luckily, my work involves me quarantining anyways, if that makes sense. So, I mean, things have been good. I'm glad to be here. Everyone has been protesting. Yeah, I mean, protests have been happening in Toronto as well, and I support it. It's all been peaceful protests in Toronto, which is great. So, yeah, overall, things have been good, as good as they can be, and hopefully soon the world will go back to some form of normal.
Yeah, me and Josh also talk about on the podcast, out of all the industries, the gaming industry has kind of been hit the least hardest.
Yes.
Least affected, because everything we're doing anyways. You know, you can download games, you can play online, you can talk about games. All the releases are fine. We got, we'll talk about it later. We got a big game in The Last of Us Part 2 coming out next week. So, all right, let's get into it. The PlayStation 5 Reveal Event came out or happened yesterday, delayed a week because of the protests. I did a video with Greg Smith, one of the writers from Collider yesterday. It's on the channel. So I want to get your guys' take. Caboose, what do you think about the event in general? And then go into the console design of it.
For the event in general, I mean, Sony definitely put on a really good show. They know exactly what people want, and that's to just see the games. That's all people care about. Listen, as someone who has interacted with developers who work on these games, I respect and appreciate the craft of creating them. It's just from a consumer standpoint, to sit there during the interviews, to sit there and look at people talking about the game, sometimes it's not enough. People just want to see the games. And that's exactly what PlayStation did. It was reveal after reveal after reveal. Some games were a little weirder than others. Mm-hmm. Some games were not knock your socks off like others. But overall, it was a solid conference. The only thing that I would have suggested, and honestly, this could have gone either way, is that you maybe save Spider-Man for the very end, like the last one. Because for someone like myself, and maybe this is just a bias thing because I love superheroes and all that stuff, but after Spider-Man was revealed, it was very hard for me to focus or be fully tuned in for any of the other reveals the way that I was for Spider-Man. Because Spider-Man got me so excited that I just couldn't stop thinking about it. And so they showed Gran Turismo, and then they had Ratchet and Clank, which was great and all that. But yeah, they probably should have saved Spider-Man for the end, just because that was the massive kept under wraps secret that they were able to reveal at the start of the show. But besides that, it was really solid. Good amount of reveals, really good looking games. Some that are coming out. Oh god, the cat jumped up.
There's your cat.
Some that are coming out a little later than others, but overall they look really good. That cat game. Speaking of cats, that cat game looked interesting.
Stray.
Is Stray, but that's cross-platform, I believe. Mm-hmm. And that's another thing that I'd consider a negative. Although this is something that Xbox, anybody would do, is they do that thing where they deceive you. They try to make you think it's a PlayStation exclusive, but it's not, So I don't know. And then obviously there's a big debacle right now regarding a confusion surrounding Spider-Man PS5 and whether or not it's an actual sequel or a spinoff, but whatever. We'll get to that in a little bit. Regarding the console design itself, it's nice. It's sleek. I like the white and black. I know some people are not the biggest fan of the color scheme. I like it a lot. The controller looks great, of course. And they're selling an all-digital version, which people made fun of Xbox a lot for. So I wonder where those people are now that PlayStation's doing it.
I don't know why anyone would make fun of that. It's just an option.
It's because Xbox did it. That's the only reason. And I mean, it's a good option, right? The console's going to be cheaper that way. So like it's just going to get the console in more people's hands than it would have otherwise. And everything looks good. Everything looks good. I'm excited for the future of gaming. I'm just way more excited than anything else for Spider-Man.
Josh, what's your take on the event and also the console design?
All right. Well, the event itself, it started off super strong. I kind of like that they showed Spider-Man in the beginning because that's what made me stay throughout the whole thing. Because in the middle, they kind of lost me in the middle, man. One of the games, I actually had to bring it up because I was physically uncomfortable when they showed the trailer or the clips for Bug Snacks.
I knew that was the one you were gonna say. I knew that.
I was physically uncomfortable. It was weird. It felt like a drug trip gone bad. Like even like the way that like the dialogue, everything, it creeped me out, man. It just everything about that made me just like I'm having like war flashbacks or something. It's horrible. So yeah, they kind of lost me in the middle. They ended off really strong. Horizon Zero Dawn is one of my favorite games of all time. So getting the story so good. So getting a sequel, I knew it was going to be happening, but I was like, I don't know. I was starting to think. It's been about 3 years. I was starting to think, okay, I haven't heard anything. I don't know if anything's going to happen. And then they dropped this, and dude, I jumped out of my seat when I saw this. Probably the similar reaction you had for Miles Morales. I had that reaction for Horizon Zero Dawn. Super excited to be for the Miles Morales game. I know that they said that it's going to expand upon that Marvel Spider-Man universe that they built in the previous Spider-Man game. As to how, I think we all knew it was coming because in Spider-Man you had that Miles Morales mission. You know what I mean? So I think we all knew that it was definitely coming. But 2020, end of this year, that's soon, dude. That's like super soon. That's what really blew me away. Oh yeah, Godfall gameplay disappointed me. I was actually really stoked for that game when they first announced it. Because it looked the cutscenes look amazing, but the gameplay just looked lacking for a next gen console.
That's how I felt too.
You know,
I was hoping I wasn't alone in that because I looked at it and I was like, this doesn't look truly next gen the way that some of the other games they were showing did.
And what did you guys think of them adding that like hip hop track to the trailer? That was kind of came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
That was, I guess that was a little bit of Gearbox flavor from their Borderlands days. I don't know.
It looks just like it would have been a next-gen mobile game. You know what I mean? Like, if anything, like I would go so far as to, and it didn't look fun, and it's the kind of game. Look, I like co-op games. I like looter games where it's all about getting better loot and stuff. And they were showing off all this armor, and it didn't look that good. Like, I'm not talking graphics-wise. I mean, like if you're gonna like unlock legendary equipment, this legendary equipment and epic equipment's got to look amazing, but it all just kind of looked whatever, you know. Like if this game came out 2-3 years ago, I would have been mad excited. But with the current state of our consoles and gaming machines, it's just a bit disappointed with that. What was it? What about
the console design? What do you think of the console design?
I'll talk about that just now because I love that. Ghostwire, I'm super excited for Ghostwire because I'm a weeb. I watch a lot of anime. I love Japanese culture. And so I'm stoked about that. It reminds me of a game called Shadow Warrior. The gameplay reminds me a lot of Shadow Warrior, this kind of first-person hack and slash. And I like it because all the attacks are these like hand symbols that you're doing that you see in like a lot of animes and stuff. It's really dope. Moving on to what the console design looks like. First of all, I'll say this afterwards. First of all, I loved it. I think it's sexy. I think it's futuristic. I think it's like the Tesla of consoles. I am a bit of a Sony fanboy. It looks good. I love the color scheme. I know a couple of people are complaining, but someone put out a couple copies of what it would look like in different colors because it wouldn't be that difficult for them to release different versions of the console in different colors, and it looks just as good in black. Like just all black looks great. What I hate about these console reveals is, I mean, the Xbox One is different because it has to stand up like that, I'm assuming. But like the PS4, the PS3, whenever they show it, they always show it standing up on its side. And realistically, I'm always going to put the console on its side, not standing up vertically. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So it always bothers me that they don't show me what it looks like down. I'm more.
They did with the
more
Xbox. With the Series X, they did show that
Okay.
you can lay it flat, and same with the
That's-
PlayStation 5.
Yeah. Man, it's but the digital version is the one I'm most excited for. It looks the best. And as long as you got good internet, man, just why not? Just use the digital version. The headphones look sick too. I mean, look, Sony is a big company. Sony knows how to make things like ergonomic, you know what I mean? In terms of everything, really. Like any product that they've really worked with, they make things really ergonomic, which I like. So very happy about the console design. And in terms of the aspect of the Xbox versus the PS5, it's one of those things where if we're looking at just pure style, it's I'm leaning towards the PS5 because I want something that stands out. I want something that's attention grabbing. I want people to see it, you know. But at the same time, I see a large appeal for the Xbox being a lot more like toned down and not being as attention grabbing. Like I see the appeal in both of them. You know what I mean? And I can see a lot of people leaning towards Xbox because it's kind of like sleek and it kind of sits there and it'll fit in with most living rooms. Whereas this PlayStation, unless you're gonna have to like have a very modern looking living room to kind of make it a part of it, you know?
Yeah. I don't know if it's official. I don't know if it's official, but I saw an image circulating that showed like a potential size comparison. And the PlayStation 5 apparently out of everything is the largest in terms of height, at least the largest console, like bigger than a 1X, or sorry, not the 1X, the Series X. So if that's the case, I don't know where I'm gonna have the space to place this thing. But I do agree with you. I can see both sides of it in terms of if you're the general consumer who's like, which console do I get? But I think at the end of the day, the PlayStation 5 is going to be the way to go. It just now all depends on how much it's going to cost. I am so surprised that Sony still held out on that. I honestly thought, I guess they're just going to keep playing this game of chicken with Xbox, and they're just going to keep waiting until Xbox, or I guess either Sony, whoever, decides to say, all right, fine, we'll announce our price. Go ahead. You announce the lower price, you jerks. Like
it's got to be 500. It's got to be 500. Here's my thinking. Here's my thinking.
Side.
I think it's going to be 500 because Amazon had to apologize to Sony because they leaked the price at $600, and there was like this big apology. So it's obviously not going to be $600. And I mean, the cost to make is what, like $475. And on the PlayStation 4, they only made a $20 profit per console. It was like $370 something to make the PS4, and they were selling it at $400. And they make their money back with the licensing rights. So unless they need the money, which I don't see them needing, Sony's probably making a good amount of money off of their games right now during lockdown. I think it's going to be $500, and if anything more than that, and I think that they're going to lose out on a lot of potential sales.
But you're saying $500 for the digital version or for the disc version?
No, for the disc version. I think the digital version. Well, I think the digital version will be at least about $100 less. Yeah. $399 makes sense to me.
Makes sense. And that's why you do a digital version too. Not only to obviously have that option, but to say you're starting at a lower price point. You can say starting at $399 or whatever. So
it's like the safety net. If Xbox ends up having the lower priced, at least they have the digital version that would potentially be the actual lowest price on the market, you know?
Yeah.
I got a question for you guys. I got a question. So they revealed the full product. They've revealed all the products, right? They revealed the headphones, the controller, and the camera. Now there was the fact that they added the PlayStation camera into the reveal leads me to believe that they have to be planning something with the PSVR or the next generation for the PSVR. Look, the other appeal to the camera is for streaming purposes. Like it's a good camera to use if you're a console streamer. But besides that, I think, I mean, from a commercial point of view, they must be showing off the camera for VR purposes, you know what I mean, in the future.
I could see that being the case. I mean, PlayStation is still very much so pushing out PlayStation VR and selling units. You know, they just had Iron Man launch, or is launching in July, I think. So like they still got a lot of stuff that they want to do with the VR world. So I can see that being the case. And obviously, you know, as well, just like you mentioned, I think they do kind of like having some streaming capabilities through the PlayStation. A lot of people do use them, contrary to what most people would believe. So it's just always like a nice thing to have there. I love that the headphones are wireless. I think that's awesome. I love that they're Bluetooth. I just hope that it comes with a wire to charge my controller so that I can keep playing, and that it's not just the docking station. But we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. Dennis, what did you think of everything?
I mean, in general, on the video I said yesterday that I thought I was impressed with the event. I wasn't blown away. It was good, not a great event. There's a lot of good games in there, but also, people were waiting, and that's the problem when you have high expectations, right? So, the Spider-Man thing, and we'll talk about that some more in a little bit, but like that thing was obviously like the big attention grabber, but then people like to get hit over the head with like 3 or 4 of these, and you kind of got that with the Horizon Zero Dawn sequel, but you didn't get there wasn't like announcement of an Uncharted sequel. There wasn't, you know what I mean? There was like a few things that people were hoping to see. And
I think God of War would have probably been the ultimate. You didn't even have to give a date. Just say coming soon. If you just did a little CG trailer that it's happening, then people would have been all out sold.
And I will say I felt the event was a little long considering it's not a live event. Usually when you get those live events, you got the audience energy in there. You got these the Microsoft one we went to, was it last year? The one where Keanu Reeves came out?
Right. Yeah. The Microsoft professor.
Yeah, you get like that energy from those type of things. Well, you don't have that in this type of pre-tape thing where they're just throwing, mostly trailers with little bits of interviews in there. So an hour 20 was a bit long for that. I think an hour would have been fine. Also a lot of platformers, a lot of indie platformers in there. A lot of those games were, you could have done that on the PS4, no problem. You didn't need the PS5. But overall, I thought it was a good showing. Now the ball is in Microsoft Xbox court, and to see what they do when they announce. Are they going to announce the price? Because we're going to have this kind of price war thing, and also exclusive games. I mean, that's really what it comes down to, right? Exclusive games.
There's something we're going to talk about later, but I feel like Xbox has a really huge opportunity right now.
Okay.
To not necessarily, maybe not win the console generation, but to have a fighting chance, because with Spider-Man, with Horizon, with the high likely possibility that there's going to be another God of War, PlayStation very much so has this generation on lockdown. So there's an opportunity, but we'll talk about it later. I did want to talk about a little more with Spider-Man, because people are very confused about this right now. We have a video up on Collider Games that just went up where I go about it a little more in detail, but to just kind of give the quick gist of it, people are really confused if this is the Spider-Man PS4 sequel. And to answer that, it is and it isn't. It's like Spider-Man 1.5. Basically what the game is, from what I understand, this based on some of the quotes that I've read from people who work at PlayStation, people who work at Insomniac, it is the open world from Spider-Man PS4, remastered essentially, or enhanced in PS5. It's got the snow and all that, and Miles is the main protagonist. Miles Morales is the character you play as, and it's a story revolving around him. So it's not like a full-fledged sequel where I think we're going to get one, maybe even next year. And it's not also just a 2-hour DLC expansion like the DLC that we got for Spider-Man PS4. This is a new game, but it's not a full-blown brand new Spider-Man game the way that you'll probably expect to see from a Spider-Man 2, which I think, again, we will get next year or maybe 2 years. Who knows? But I think
it's like a spin-off.
Exactly. It is a spin-off of Spider-Man PS4 from what I understand. It's going to feature the open world from the main game that we saw come out in 2018. And I think the best way to describe this is like the Arkham Origins of Spider-Man games, if you know what I mean. It is the game that's meant to bridge the gap between the first actual Spider-Man sequel, or the first actual Spider-Man game, and then the Spider-Man sequel. The only difference is it looks way more polished, not as completely rushed, and probably won't be as buggy as Arkham Origins ended up being, although that ended up being a really well-written game. And is super underrated in my opinion. But that's kind of the best way that I can describe this, is that it's just that game that bridges the gap. But it also looks like there's plenty of meat on the bones there, and there's plenty of story to experience. And I'm really excited for it.
I mean, sorry, go ahead, Dennis.
I was just gonna say, as someone who hasn't played the Spider-Man on PS4, which I just bought recently, so I will get to that. I'll probably live stream it. How many hours is Spider-Man? Let's say I'm not talking about like every single side mission, but like let's say the main story. How many hours is that? And how many hours would you guess this Miles Morales version would be?
That's a good question. I think if you're playing just the story mode, beginning to end, watching all the cutscenes, all that stuff, I think does it clock
like
in somewhere around like?
35?
Do you think it's 30 for the main story or for the whole package?
Yeah, no side quests. I think it's like I feel. And then again, I play games slowly, but for me, it felt like about 35 hours with doing very minimal side quests.
Yeah, I'd say probably, if you're looking at just racing through all the story missions, if you're not going to do any exploration or anything like that, you're probably looking at around that, or maybe even like 25 hours or around there. If you're someone who's literally like, I'm not even going to free roam, I'm not even going to swing around the city, I am going from mission to mission to mission, you're looking at somewhere around that range. And I'm guessing that the Miles game will probably be something like 10 hours. That's my guess. I don't know for sure, but that's my guess. And I'm also assuming that it's not going to be sold at full price. I think it's going to be like a $40 game.
Yeah, the question is how.
Do you think there's going to be I mean, this is my biggest. I wouldn't say issue. This is a good because I'm looking forward to this game for sure. But no matter how you look at it, Miles Morales has different powers. You know what I mean? So there's going to be the gameplay will be different. I'd imagine a lot of stealth because the dude can go invisible. We got to see some of the electrocuting, the shocking abilities he has. So the gameplay, we know for a fact the gameplay will be different. Web swinging most likely will be similar. Hopefully they give like a nice different style to how he web swings. Like they don't use like the exact same animations. They make like different animations to make it more unique to him.
Right.
But yeah, I have a feeling there's going to be a lot of stealth aspects to it because he can go invisible.
Well, yeah, like you can already see just from, although it's literally one clip, but you can see from the one clip that they show of him swinging that he is very different from Peter, right? He's not as experienced.
Hell yeah.
When he lets go of the swing, he's almost like in a free fall, like he's fallen to his doom or something like that. You can tell he's moving with that inexperienced style, but he's still kind of honed in on his skills and he's like understanding what it's like to be Spider-Man. So I like that. I think that that's super interesting, and I agree with you. I hope that there is nothing we see in this game that is a reused animation or like reused whatever from Spider-Man PS4. I want it to feel completely unique because that's the only way you'll have me sold when you tell me it is a brand new game.
I think I'm going to guess that it's going to be 15 hours.
I hope
They'll sell it, reduced price, maybe $50 instead of $60 or $40 instead of $60. It sounds like something that Sony really wanted to have at the launch, because that was the thing that surprised me the most. Not that there was a new game and not that it was Miles Morales. It was that at the end they're like holiday 2020. I was like, okay, that is soon.
Yeah.
So it's probably not, as big a game as the original one was. As far as the console design, I liked it. I think it's better than the Xbox Series X one. But for me personally, I'm like Josh. I don't really care, to be honest. Like, it looks cool. It looks cooler than the Xbox Series X. It's just because the way, I have my console, I stick it in a corner or in a cabinet or something on the side, and I just never think about it, So that's just personally for me, it's just not that big of an issue as long as the console itself is not gigantic, It seems like the Xbox Series X is more girthy, like wider, but not as tall as the PS5. And the PS5, I say it looks cool. It looks like an Alienware desktop. I like the look of it, but ultimately just not going to factor too much into it for me.
Yeah, the games that you play is what matters the most.
Yeah.
At the end of the day. Yeah.
I noticed both consoles have very large vents, so that's one thing that's definitely between the two. They both have large vents, so leads me to. I know that some people said that the PS5 dev kit was overheating, so maybe that's why they like. I know that, and mind you, the console design they have now is very different from the dev kit.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that the redesign was probably to help cool it down. While we're on the topic of the console, I know I spoke to you about this a couple weeks ago, Dennis, but I want to get your point of view on this, Caboose. So the controller, the PS5 controller, comes with haptic feedback, which in my opinion, is just like a fancier way of saying, "Hey, we have a new type of vibration for the controller."
Right.
But a couple developers said that it's great once you actually get to experience the immersion and stuff. But it's like, how much actual use do you think having haptic feedback on a controller would be? I mean, it'll feel good, but for me, I don't see much use to it. When I think haptic feedback, I think of gloves. I think of like suits that you can wear. You can feel bullets and stuff. But I don't want to feel the bullets on the palm of my hand. You know?
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah. No, I get what you mean. Honestly, I'm with you there. That just sounds like fancy wording to me. I really don't know exactly what that means. You know, they've talked about it as well regarding Spider-Man, and they're like, yeah, the haptic feedback in the controller is gonna make you feel every punch or every web swing and stuff like that. So I really don't know what it's gonna be like. I guess it's just something we're gonna have to experience when we use the controller or when we're playing a game on our PS5s. But I don't know. I mean, for some games, I just turn off vibration for my controllers because for some games it can be annoying. But like if I'm playing, for instance, if I'm playing like Call of Duty or Apex or something like that, that helps me a lot because I don't know what it is that I just the cue of your controller vibrating gets me more on alert that there's an enemy nearby or something like that than actually getting shot would or like the visual cue on my screen. But for a game like Spider-Man or even just any sort of single player game, that sort of stuff doesn't really affect my experience in any way. So as long as it doesn't detract from it, then cool, whatever it is, cool. But if it does end up being something that's annoying, I might see myself in a position where I got to turn off vibration for some of the games that I play on PS5.
For sure. And then real quick, I did not add this to the list. I just wanted to bring it up real quick because while we were covering the event, they showed off a game during the event that looked cool, but they showed gameplay, but at the same time they didn't tell you anything as to what the hell the point of the game is. It's the here's the name, Destruction All Stars.
Oh my God.
The game where it's like, what the hell is it about? It's set in an arena, all right, and you're switching between on-foot combat and in-car combat. But it's like, so is it an arena combat game? Is it like Rocket League? Is there like a scoring system set up? Yeah. They didn't explain anything about like how the game how you actually play the game, you know? So I'm so confused. It looks cool, but I have no idea what the hell it's about. And I feel like that's a poor trailer. Like, how can you show a 2-minute trailer of pure gameplay and people still don't know what the objective of the game is?
Yeah, that game, although I agree, you know, that they just revealed it and there is no information besides that it looks cool, but it looks cool. So they have my day one purchase for that one. That looked like a ton of fun. I just have no clue. I'm right there with you, Josh. I have no clue what the objective is, how you're supposed to win. Is it like a battle royale? Is it like an arena type thing where you're just supposed to be the last one standing? I'm assuming that's all it is. I guess it's just one of those games where it's not as massive of a release as something like, you know, The Last of Us or Spider-Man, where they don't really need to give you too much besides what the game is going to play like. So hopefully we learn more soon. But that reveal, outside of like everything we were seeing, although it was weird, it looked like a lot of fun and a game that I definitely want to play.
The second biggest game that they announced was the Horizon Zero Dawn sequel called Horizon Forbidden West.
Oh yeah.
Also another game that I've never played. I just got my PS4 at the end of last year. I just finished Last of Us Part 1 just so I could play Last of Us Part 2. Yeah. It took me 7 years to beat the game. I might do a video on it, honestly, because I ran into so many problems. But anyways, so now that I have a PS4, I know PS5 is coming up, but I'm trying to catch up on all of these franchises. So I bought Spider-Man, which I need to beat. I bought Horizon Zero Dawn, the original. It was only $10. Spider-Man was $20 for the Game of the Year edition. And then I bought the Uncharted Greatest Hits one, where it has the first 3 games.
Okay.
I have played Uncharted before. I just never finished the first one. And I played, I think, a little bit of the second one as well. So I just need to sit down and get through that stuff. But since there's no new Uncharted coming out, I can hold off on that one. But Spider-Man I got to do. Horizon Zero Dawn I got to do. Josh, you go first on this one because I know you're a big fan of this game. How happy were you to see this announcement, this trailer?
I was probably as happy as Caboose was when he saw Miles Morales. I literally jumped out of my chair, dude. I was because the thing is they've been so hush hush about this. Like, I haven't heard any news about this game since they released the DLC for the original. And for me, it was my game of the year for 2017 by far. This game came out of nowhere. I think the last game that this studio did was Killzone 3, which was like so long ago.
Yeah.
So long ago. So they were just like they were working on the original game like for a long time in I wouldn't say secret, but they weren't like announcing it. The game came out, it's my favorite. It's probably, I wouldn't say my favorite of all time, but it's up there in terms of story games. Like, look, the game itself, the gameplay is fantastic. The original Horizon Zero Dawn, the gameplay is fantastic. I can talk about that for hours, but the thing that's the best about this is the story. The reason I'm so excited for a sequel is for a continuation of the story. It's set like thousands of years in the future where robots have pretty much without giving too many spoils in it, it's set in the future. There's robot animals everywhere. Robots kind of overran humanity and kind of wiped out humanity, and now humanity is kind of like in this caveman era where we're a lot more primal than what we used to be. But it mixes in technology in a good way that it's like not cyberpunk, but like its own like nature punk, I would say. I don't know, like it has its own weird kind of thing. The gameplay in the first game was a lot of strategy. It's an action RPG with some good RPG elements into it in terms of like your skill tree and the things that you unlock. It's like you use different weapons and bows and elemental arrows, and the game's a lot about like hunting and prep and a lot of strategy. So it was a good game. It was so different. So dude, I'm excited for this. It looks great too. And the only thing that I could tell from this in terms of story is that they're saying that organic creatures are slowly coming back, and there's something threatening their existence. That's like the most I can get out of this as well, just from reading it.
And Lance Reddick is in
but
it.
I'm excited.
Yeah, I saw Lance Reddick. I was like, oh, he was in
Also,
that Remedy game too as well.
Also, that's my favorite voice actor. I think she's I forget her name, but the lady who does Aloy, who does her voice is phenomenal. She's one of my favorite voice actors. I don't know her name, but I know her voice from a lot of stuff she's done. So I love that. I think you see Solus as well.
Ashley Birch. Ashley Birch.
Yes. Oh,
yeah.
Dude, she's fantastic, man. She's so good.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think there's a lot of. I'm hyped for it. I know a lot of people are hyped because the trailer looked good, but I'm just hyped because of I honestly like. It's one of those games where they could butcher the gameplay and I would still finish it just for the story.
Yeah.
Like I would sit through the horrible gameplay just because it's such an addictive story, because it's like one of those things where the more you find out, the more questions you have, and like every time you get a question answered, you have more questions. It's great storytelling.
Yeah, no, I agree. It looked really, really good. It was like, when you saw Ratchet and Clank, that was the tech demo for PlayStation where they were like, look how fast things load when we go into a brand new area. When they revealed Horizon Zero Dawn, they were like, look how good games can look when everything is prioritized on SSDs. That is absolutely, although like it's great, the game's revealed, Horizon Zero Dawn fans are going to be very excited, like yourself, Josh, but it's also very much that tech demo, that look how pretty games are going to look on this console generation. And that's exactly what they did for me. I didn't finish Horizon Zero Dawn. It was a lot of fun from what I did play. It's just, I remember at the time there were a lot of different games that were coming out for the PlayStation. It was hard to keep up. But one thing that I had so much fun with that game was photo mode. And I cannot wait to play around with that again in this game. I will go back and finish the first one before I jump into this one. But man, oh man, photo mode is so much fun. And I know for a fact they're going to have it in this game, because why the hell wouldn't they? And I mean, same with Spider-Man Miles Morales. It is going to be so great to be able to use photo mode for next gen on the PS5. Oh, I am beyond excited for that, almost more than anything. And I mean, Lance Reddick being in the game is really cool too. So hell yeah.
Yeah. The best photo mode I've ever experienced was in Spider-Man, the one that came out.
Me too.
That was the best photo mode I've ever experienced in any game.
100%.
All right, another game that's not exclusive to the PS5 platform, but they debuted the trailer, was Resident Evil Village, which is quite a departure. At least, look, I played some Resident Evil games, but not like a ton. But for me, it looked like such a departure that I didn't realize it was a Resident Evil game. I mean, first you got the first person perspective on there, and then two, kind of the setting was an more, instead of like the evil corporation umbrella, like technology, modern times, it seemed like it was set in an older time,
almost like medieval looking.
Yeah. So, and it had I don't know, at least for me, a more horror bent than action bent, at least from that trailer. What do you guys think?
Oh, that trailer was
go
awesome.
Ahead first.
Yeah, that trailer was awesome for me. I did my reaction. I was streaming my reaction, and right when they started the trailer and you got to see a little bit of that first person perspective, I was like, this is Resident Evil. It's got to be, because Resident Evil 7, they kind of started shifting in that direction. And then the trailer started going on, and it was showing some really different, not Resident Evil looking stuff. And I was like, oh, okay, it's not Resident Evil. And then I saw what I thought was a zombie, so I was like, oh, it's Resident Evil. And then it turned out to be like a werewolf looking thing or something. And I was like, oh, it's not Resident Evil. And then it was Resident Evil. And then at the end, you got Chris Redfield, who's looking like a big dude now. And he does some crazy stuff in the trailer, which I have no idea what's going on there. I'm confused, but I am all in. Resident Evil 7 was one of the best Resident Evils I've ever played.
Oh, yeah.
I haven't played the 2 remakes, though, so I got to get on that. I know, and some people are going to be on me in the comments. I apologize. I will get on that. But they are the old games, just remade, so don't judge me too much. But just for a sequel to Resident Evil 7, it being first person again, I thought that was one of the best elements of Resident Evil 7, and I cannot wait to get my hands on this game and see what the hell is going to go down in this story mode and how or what is going on with Chris Redfield. I also wonder, because they did this with RE7, are they going to do a VR version again? Because Resident Evil 7 had a PlayStation VR release. So I wonder if they'll do that again, because I know there were some people that I've talked to who adore and just went nuts for the Resident Evil 7 experience on PlayStation VR. So I got to imagine that PlayStation is planning on doing that again. But it is not an exclusive, and it was one of those other games where it was a little deceiving in the reveal to look like it was a PlayStation exclusive.
Yeah. I think VR would fit great, especially now if they're doing a first-person perspective on this. And then also, I've been playing a ton of VR lately. I played Half-Life Alyx, which to me is one of the best games ever in VR. And they have a horror element to it, and it works very well. And I can imagine Resident Evil Village having a VR version, not just for the PSVR, but also for the PC, and being able to capitalize on how effective horror is in VR.
Yeah, and it just looks great. Chris Redfield looks super interesting. I can't wait.
Oh yeah. So I actually played the entire game in VR, Resident Evil 7.
Nice.
I finished it from start to beginning in VR, and out of all the people I know that did play it on the PSVR, they were all horrified. The game is horrifying. For me, it was actually less horrifying in VR because you could clip through things. So it's like you're horrified, and then all of a sudden your head clips through a wall, and you're like, oh well, it's just a game. And it like kind of breaks that barrier. And it's also the moving when you were in VR. If you wanted to make tight moves, it did a thing where it like completely flips you 90 degrees or 180 degrees. So it's not like a smooth transition. It just flips your like camera angle. So that kind of takes it out of you too. I found the game more scary playing it without VR. But yeah, it was in first person, Resident Evil 7. It was fun. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I couldn't even for the life of you tell you what happened in that game, because when you're playing it in VR, you're just in the moment. You're like, don't get caught, don't shit your pants, do the thing, go find the stuff. You know what I mean? But yeah, and I'd have to say I feel the same way you do, Caboose, where it's like I'm confused but excited. I have no idea what to expect. I mean, there's like witchcraft and werewolves and I don't like all sorts of stuff that I wasn't really expecting. And then it's just I have no idea what to expect from this game. Like the previous game was good in first person, so I think this one will be just as good in first person. I think it'll definitely have a PSVR mode because the previous one was quite successful. It sold very well, and it's fairly easy to port. If your game is like the previous one, like there was I'm fairly certain it's easy for them to bring out a VR version just based off of the fact that it's first person. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I think it would be silly for them not to, but I think they're just going to be hush on that for now because I don't know if they're going to re-release I don't know if they're going to do like a PSVR 2.0 or if they're going to rebrand it or re-release it or whatever for the PS5. But I think as soon as we find out what's happening with the PSVR in terms of the PS5, I think we'll find out if that's going to be a Resident Evil 8 in this. It looks good though. Like it's a good mix of horror and action, you know?
Yeah.
I don't really play horror games because I'm a pansy, dude. I hate horror games. I'll get so scared. But this is the kind of thing where it's like there's enough action where I'm like, I want to play this for sure.
Yeah, I'm with you.
All right. Before we move on to The Last of Us Part 2, you know, are there any kind of highlights or even just kind of things that you guys wanted to point out about the other games that they mentioned? They mentioned a lot of different games. I mean, the one thing I'd say is I felt bad for the developers of that Kenna game because that's when the stream froze. I don't know if you guys remember. Like froze for like a
me.
The
really?
stream froze? Oh man, yeah. No,
Yeah.
I had no issues.
I had no freezes. Yeah,
That's weird because it froze for me and it froze for like maybe it was only for America or something because everyone in the chat room was.
Were you watching on Twitch?
I was watching it on IGN, I think.
Oh, okay, because for YouTube it worked for me.
Yeah, I watched it on YouTube.
Well, I was on YouTube IGN, so
I was on PlayStation YouTube. Their actual.
Maybe it was just
channel,
an IGN thing, but it froze for like 30 seconds to a minute, and they were like talking about the game. So
I mean,
hopefully it is limited to just the IGN one, so it's less affected.
I will say the other thing that we're not really talking too much about because, I mean, it's not too much to say about it, but I'm excited to get another Ratchet and Clank game. I really enjoyed the reboot, like the previous one that came out because it was the exact same maps and worlds as the first Ratchet and Clank, but they kind of redid the story, polished the game a lot, and I love platformers because they're fun. I agree with you that a lot of these indie platformers that they showed off they could have done on the PS4 or like shown us better games, but I love platformers, so I'm happy to see all the platformers they showed off. Really excited for a new Ratchet and Clank game. It was one of those things where I didn't know if they were going to continue the franchise or not because I think the movie bombed, like if I recall. Because they released the movie with the reboot that they did, and I think the movie bombed. I'm not too sure. I watched part of the movie and I was like, this is cringe. And like the movie and the game kind of incorporate each other in a weird way. But yeah, I'm excited for another Ratchet and Clank game for sure.
Yeah, like I said earlier, I mean that was a really good tech demo for them. You saw they were jumping through rifts, jumping through like completely different worlds, completely different fully realized stages, and it was happening instantly in like a split second. There was a bit of a frame dip when it happened. I'm assuming that's something that'll get smoothened out when we reach launch, or maybe it was just something that was just a stream side thing and it's not how it's actually going to look when you play the game. But overall, it was very impressive to see that they were jumping from world to world, completely fully realized areas in the snap of a finger without any issue, without any load time. So that's what's very impressive about Ratchet and Clank. And I mean, Pragmata looks really cool. That's going to be another cross-platform game, but man, that's 2 years away. We got a long time until that one. So who knows what that game's going to be like or what it's going to even be about. But it looked like it was a freaking Kojima game. I thought it was like a Death Stranding. I thought that was going to be like what Spider-Man Miles Morales is for Spider-Man PS4 for Death Stranding. Like I thought it was going to be like a Death Stranding expansion, maybe like the beginning of the end of the world in Death Stranding or something. I don't know. I thought that could have been pretty cool. But either way, that game's look really, really interesting. And everything looked good. Everything looked solid. Some of the games looked really weird and wacky and maybe not so great, but I was thoroughly impressed with the presentation from PlayStation.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff in there, like
so much.
NBA 2K21. I mean, that's gonna be cross-platform. You know, just showing out the graphics in there is a very early demo. Project Athea, which was from Square Enix. That looked like it was exclusive to PlayStation, if I'm not mistaken. Goodbye Volcano High. Do you remember that? That was like the 2D animated.
I was like, what in the freaking dinosaur indie movie people am I watching? It was like a coming of age clip from like an indie film. I don't know. Mind you, there's a market for that stuff, but it was not for me.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I don't know what the dragon form of furries are. I know there's a word for it, but that's what it reminded me of, and it made me uncomfortable.
Oh, and Demon Souls. People are are super
Yeah.
excited for Demon Souls, so that's cool that they announced it. It was just like a CG trailer, but it's coming, so that's cool.
There was a game that kind of reminded me a lot of Journey in terms of the art style, but a bit darker, and it was like a platformer.
Yes.
Where it had the word Ash in it.
Something like that. I know what you're talking about. It's
that
looked
looked
as well.
yeah.
I think I have it somewhere here. It was
That
called
looked fun. That looked
Solar
like a really
Ash.
fun platform.
Solar Ash.
Solar
Ash, and it was
That looked good.
Annapurna was putting it out.
Yeah, that I like that. The Solar Ash looked good. I was happy about that.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
Yeah. Do you know if Returnal is a PlayStation exclusive?
Which one was that?
That was the one with the
Returnal.
lady in the space suit that
Oh,
was in
right.
a
Yes,
loop.
I think that's a PlayStation exclusive. Yes.
Yeah,
That did
one
look
looked
exciting.
I think
That was
so.
a good trailer. It caught
I
my
like
attention.
the concept of that
Yeah.
as a lot, actually. The fact that like you're in the death loop, but the world is ever changing. I think that's super cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you just said the word, but also the game Deathloop that they showed looks cool
Right.
as well. Yeah, like funny enough, great segue right there.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the character art here. I don't know how many characters there's going to be available. It looks like there's another 2, like, or it could be the same character with different hair because it's concept art. But I think they're definitely going to have more characters. Yeah, for Deathloop, they'll have more characters. It looks fun.
Yeah. That game looks like a ton of fun.
The best way I can describe it is it looks like in terms of gameplay, it looks like a mix between BioShock and there was another game, Dishonored and BioShock. It looks like a good mix between Dishonored in terms of the teleporting around and the shooting. It reminded me a lot of those 2 games.
Yeah. No, yeah, that looks like so much fun. That's going to be a really solid first-person shooter.
Also, talk about a good time to show like a leading black man. You know what I mean in a game which is very rare, I think.
Mm-hmm.
No, in Deathloop.
In Deathloop as well. Yeah.
Yeah, we don't see him, but you can hear him. I just think that's cool because it's not just in terms of representation. We got Miles Morales, but it's rare that you get in video games. It's so rare that you get like people of color in like the leading position. Very rare. Yeah, I love that, and I love 2 Marvel games is on it. They got Kamala Khan leading Marvel's Avengers, and they got Miles now with Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Nice.
Awesome. Yeah.
All right, cool. Yeah, so that was the PS5 event and our thoughts of that. So besides, they had originally wanted to do this last week, so it would kind of overlap with the Last of Us Part 2 launch, but because of everything happening, they had to. So Last of Us Part 2 launches next week, but the launch trailer came out and the reviews came out today. Launch trailer to me, it's very short. I kind of didn't mind it because I don't want to be spoiled on anything. So just seeing a very short trailer didn't bother me. In terms of the reviews, mostly been positive. I've seen a lot of like 10 out of 10s, 9 out of 10s, Masterpiece. A lot of people. I did see a few mixed ones that were saying it wasn't quite as good as the first one. And maybe the expectations were too high. My only worry, because it looks like it's one, it looks gorgeous, and then 2, it looks like it's following up pretty much with the first one. My thing is, how much time are we going to get where Joel is the companion to Ellie? Where the first game, it's like Ellie's the companion to Joel for 90% of the game. In a lot of the footage that you see in the trailers or whatnot, it just seems more like Ellie by herself.
Right.
But we know Joel will be part of it. We just don't know how much.
Yeah. If we're talking specifically the reviews, or just like you're talking about the launch trailer, like the launch trailer looks nice. But if we're talking the reviews, I wonder how all those people who are like, I'm not getting this game because I looked at one spoiler. I wonder how they feel. And I wonder how hard they're gonna fight to justify their reasoning for the however many clips that was not the entire full game experience that they decided to watch and then say, you know what, because of these 3 or 4 clips, I am no longer buying this game. I really wonder how much they're going to fight to justify their position, because it's just another one of those cases, man. A game is not one cutscene. A game is not 2 cutscenes. A game, especially like The Last of Us, is like a 30, 40-hour experience. That'd be like me taking one swing in Spider-Man, taking one swing, and maybe there was a bug that took place in that one swing. And I went, you know what? This whole game sucks. I don't want to play it. I don't want to play this whole game. I don't even want to see it. I don't even want to see this whole game because of that one swing where that one bug that I experienced happened. You know, that'd be like the comparison there. But you know what? I'm not surprised. Naughty Dog is one of the top-notch developers. Granted, the argument that's there regarding their practices on time crunch and all that, that is a conversation that needs to be had. That is something that they definitely got to get working on in the studio to make sure there is a healthy environment for the people working on these games. But they make good games. They always make good games. I expect
since like early 2000s, man.
Yeah,
or I guess since the late 90s, they've just been like constantly giving just great content and great games. I love it.
Yep.
I'm one of those unfortunate. I'm one of the very few unfortunate people that had Endgame ruined for me before it came out. Well, it was like literally the second day that the movie was out, and there was a GIF of. I'll just do that. You know what?
Man.
No, people have seen Endgame. Anyways, literally, someone so I saw that GIF and I was so upset, but I still went to go watch the movie. You know what I mean? It's like a 2.5-hour movie. It's I'm not gonna go see it just because I saw the ending in like a 5-second GIF. I don't know. Like, if there are truly people out there that aren't gonna play The Last of Us because they saw a couple spoilers, that, man, you are missing out on so many, not just on The Last of Us, but you're missing out on so many other things in life if that's your point of view. Like, that sucks.
I agree. I absolutely agree. If you let and I also, there are some people, I don't want to like throw shade, but there are some people who like also actively seeked out those leaks and ruined it for themselves, and it's like, man, why?
Just be patient. You know?
I couldn't imagine that. You know, for myself, I've been lucky. I don't cover those games, so I don't necessarily draw the most attention from the fan base. So I haven't seen any of the leaks, and I'm probably going to keep going social media silent until I get to play the full game. But, you know, I would never, not for myself, I would never be in a scenario where leaks are out there and I know where to find them, and I'm going to be like, I'm going to go look at them, especially if it's something that I'm looking forward to as much as I am looking forward to The Last of Us. You know, if it was the same situation with Avengers, and I actually think there was the same situation with Avengers, where stuff leaked for Avengers like a month, maybe later than when the movie was actually coming out. I remember hearing about that, and it's hard to avoid, but there are definitely things you can do to avoid it. So if you want to actively look at it, then in my opinion, I don't think you're truly as excited for the product. I'm not denouncing anybody who goes and looks at the leaks. I'm just saying, if you're looking forward to the game, if you're looking forward to a movie, whatever, and there are leaks out there, avoid them. Them. Go into the experience without that stuff. It won't necessarily ruin your experience because it's only one small bit that's taken out of context. But I think it's way better to go in and fully experience everything the game has to offer, top to bottom, without knowing what's about to come next, or without knowing, you know, this X person or Y person's gonna die. You know, like any of that information, not having it and then it being revealed to you within the context of the game, I think is important, and I think elevates the experience of playing the game. So I
hate people that troll you, man. There's so many people out there that troll you into watching the leaks. That's what's upsetting for me. Yeah. Like regarding the Avengers Endgame leak, I was watching the GIF, by the way. It was a cat video. I was like, oh, I love cat videos. And then literally halfway through the GIF, it just switched to that. And I was fuming. I literally blocked and deleted the person on Facebook that posted it. But like, so I know that there are people out there that's probably making similar type of videos, like kind of like baiting you into watching it. And like, man, if you have that kind of time on your hands, do something productive. You know, you're not getting paid to troll people. Come on.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to it. It'll be out next week. Gonna play it. we talked about this last week, Josh, about the Naughty Dog and how they got called out for. It's weird because it's very complicated because it's the song is already a cover, but someone else had covered it in a similar fashion beforehand, and then therefore asked to get recognized. And apparently, this has all been solved now or been.
Well, what's nice is that they came out and they actually said they were like, we 100% were inspired by her cover. Like they actually said that. They're not saying that it's a similarity. They're like, no, our cover of this song was inspired by Lotte Kestner's cover.
Yes.
And it was nice that they put out that apology. Apparently, Lotte, she removed her previous tweets calling them out for it, and she put out a tweet thanking them, which is nice. I know we spoke about the legality issues around it because it's like, how do you get copyright? How does copyright work in terms of covers and your unique cover? And famous bands do covers all the time, so surely there's something around that. But I mean, look, Neil Druckmann himself came out with the tweet. That's pretty cool. You know what I mean? And then they said they're going to rectify it, and they'll probably not only mention her in the credits, but I'm sure they'll make like a bigger mention of it because of this happening.
Yeah, Neil Druckmann came out on Twitter and said Ellie's rendition of True Faith was inspired by Lotte Kestner's haunting cover of the song. Due to an oversight on our end, she wasn't credited as intended. Our deep apologies. We are rectifying this ASAP. We hope that Lotte Kestner receives the recognition she deserves. And then she wrote back, so proud this music has found a home in such an amazing project. Thanks to Neil, Naughty Dog, and everyone at Sony. So sounds like everything is all good now. And
I mean, look, at the end of the day, you can't deny the fact that I didn't know this person's name a week ago, and now I do. And it's like, it's one of those things where any publicity is good publicity. I'm not saying that she was I'm not sure. I'm not saying her intention was to get more followers and things like that, but she definitely got a lot more attention from this, which is a good thing. If your music is good and you're getting more attention now, that's a good thing, So at the very least, I guess I wouldn't call it like a silver. I guess it's a silver lining. At the very least, now she's a bit more in the mainstream eyes. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right. You guys have anything else to say about Last of Us Part 2 before it comes out?
Can't wait to play it.
No. Yeah.
I'm excited. All right. Valorant came out recently, and that people have been reviewing it. I haven't got a chance to play it. As it's currently PC only, but I heard that they are looking into porting it to consoles.
Interesting.
Yeah. But yeah, this is supposed to be kind of like a cross between like what Counter-Strike was and what Overwatch is. And apparently it's been getting a lot of good reviews. People are saying that even though the graphics are kind of more simplistic and less, you know what I mean? Like heavy on textures and whatnot. Yeah, they did it on purpose.
It's a bigger market. Yeah. A lot more people can play the game.
So that they can play it, and also just lag time, not having so much lag and all that stuff. Have you guys started to play this yet, or are you guys interested in playing this?
I played it a little bit. Sorry to cut you off, Josh. I was just gonna say, I played it a little bit. I'm not good at keyboard and mouse games though, so I sucked. But I had a little bit of fun with it, and it looks like it's just going to be one of those really fun games to watch somebody play at the highest level. So, I mean, cool. It's getting good reviews. I'm glad.
Yeah, I was going to say, when the betas were out, I was watching a lot of my favorite streamers like Shroud and Ninja and those guys play it.
Yeah.
And it's getting, I mean, look, unless they were getting paid to say this, which I doubt, they were critically acclaiming the game. They're like this. They're all excited to play it. It's gotten great reviews. I mean, look, there's obviously I know some people are talking about the microtransaction thing to it, but for any kind of game as a service, you're gonna have microtransactions. You know what I mean? It's something you have to accept, and this game, they know that it should be purely cosmetic, which it is, and that's totally cool. It doesn't affect the gameplay whatsoever. Yeah, I am 100% going to be getting to this game. My download is paused right now. I just got my
just so we can do
podcast. This. Yeah, so next week I can actually give you guys a proper review. Okay. But yeah, for the people on the podcast that have been watching the past couple of weeks, I finally got my PC yesterday. So I've been spending the past couple of days downloading some good. I do voice acting, so I'm getting all my recording software out there and editing software. Slowly downloaded. The internet connection where I am is not that good currently, so slowly downloading all those things. But I am looking forward to playing some Valorant, and I'll probably be streaming it quite often.
Nice.
My question is, I don't have a lot of people to play with, so I'm curious as to what it would be like just playing with strangers. You know, it's 5v5.
Yeah.
I prefer games that have smaller like teams. Like I prefer like if I play any kind of battle royale, I prefer duos personally. You know what I mean? It's just a bit more manageable for me.
Yeah.
And even solos, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But it looks great. Everybody who's played the game has nothing but praise for it. You know what I mean? And I can see it's tactile too, which is what I like about it.
Mm-hmm.
And I like how unique the characters are. You know, that's and even though, like you said, the art style and the style itself is a bit toned down, the graphics are toned down. It gives it a certain style, it gives it a certain feel, and I kind of like that. It reminds me of matte black. You know, like the matte kind of color. It reminds me of like that in terms of video gaming. Like it has that kind of aesthetic, which I like.
Oh, yeah. I haven't played it yet. I'll because it is free to play, I will probably download it at some point and play it as well. It's funny. I've gotten so used to. I used to be like a mouse keyboard guy, back when Half-Life 1 first came out and everything, and then because I've just been playing a lot more console stuff, it's like I've kind of lost my trigger finger on mouse and keyboard now compared to controllers.
Yes.
Also, Call of Duty Warzone Season 4 dropped. I think.
Ooh, Caboose, you're on Xbox, aren't you?
I am. Well, actually, no. I play on PC. I play on PC.
Okay. I was about to say.
Yeah.
Because I know that there was a problem apparently where the Xbox players had an 80 gig update, which was incorrect.
My friends reached out to me about that.
That's crazy, man.
Ridiculous.
Like when I heard that. Oh, dude. When I heard that, I was like, because I'm on PlayStation, I was like, please, for the love of God, like, it's going to take me 5 days to download that update. Please don't tell me that's true. So luckily, it seems like it was a glitch or something. I haven't played the new season yet. I did play a lot of the previous season. I'm really enjoying Warzone. Dude, the Gulag, love the Gulag.
Yeah.
It's a good game, honestly. Like, it's a great game, and I can't wait to see where they go with it. I think with season 4, I hope that we see some like live events in the game, like maybe a nuke or something. Who knows? Like it'll be cool to see some like crazy stuff happen.
Teasing, right?
Yeah, it seems like they're teasing that. Yeah.
New season looks cool. I haven't had a chance to play too much of it either. I just jumped in just to get the battle pass because Captain Price is the man. So I just got the battle pass. And I saw that they added like some new stuff to like the actual Warzone experience. Like there are live events that happen, not like live events like what you're talking about, but live events that are like gameplay events that happen every game. So for instance, there's one called Jailbreak where everybody who's in the gulag at the time gets released for free.
Oh wow. That's
cool. There's one where like these attack choppers come down or something and you got to like shoot them and you get like a bunch of money out of them when you get it. And I think I remember reading one where everyone who's dead gets brought back, but that one is apparently like rare. So it's cool. It's pretty cool. And it is one of the best battle royales out there right now, without a doubt. And like 100%. good on Call of Duty. They have absolutely at least taken that number 2 spot. I don't know if it's dethroned Fortnite still, but it's definitely taken the number 2 spot from Apex Legends as one of the most watched and most played battle royales out there.
Interesting. Let me ask you this, Caboose, because me and Josh talked about this the other week. Is Warzone the future for the Call of Duty franchise? I mean, are they going to keep going with their regular games like Modern Warfare and Black Ops?
Yeah.
When Warzone has proved so successful and popular and also money making, like,
yep.
Are they going to kind of shy away from the console installments and just go with this kind of free to play model?
Well, I'll tell you what, when they launched Warzone, that probably wasn't the plan. The plan was probably just like what they did with Blackout for Black Ops 4, where they were like, listen, battle royales are the craze. We got to have one. And that's it. We'll put it out with this game. Let it run for a year, let people enjoy it, and then whatever's next will be whatever's next. But with Modern Warfare, because they decided to go free to play, I think they probably expected a good level of success. I don't think they expected it to be as massive as it currently is. So I would imagine, and I'm pretty sure I've seen, whether it's people at Infinity Ward or Activision have teased that the plan is to let this be an ever-evolving thing that's just a staple for Call of Duty games in the future. You know, like you'll have your mainline release of, let's say, a Call of Duty Black Ops or a Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, whatever, but Warzone will always be there. And I think that's really smart to do. I think letting Warzone always be that free-to-play game is great, because I remember as well hearing that with Warzone being a free-to-play game, it also massively increased the sales for Modern Warfare and the multiplayer of that game, because I'm guessing
it was the most bought game last month.
Exactly. So a lot of people probably really enjoy Warzone, and on one hand, either they're like, I gotta get Modern Warfare because it's easier to level up my guns in multiplayer, which is why I have Modern Warfare. Or they're like, well, you know, maybe I don't always want to be in the battle royale environment. I just want to jump in and play a couple of games. I like the way the game plays, so they buy the main game, or maybe they want to play the campaign. The campaign of Modern Warfare is really good. So there is something here that Infinity Ward has done that I'm sure Activision wants to capitalize on, because yes, it's free to play, so maybe there's not a ton of money there, but Warzone could now be a brand new additional avenue for a lot of players, a lot of just general consumers to get involved in the Call of Duty franchise. All that I hope for is that these Call of Duty games come out and are good. Black Ops is apparently the next one, and they're doing essentially what they did with Modern Warfare, it sounds like, where they're kind of rebooting the franchise almost. And I'm down for that. I am completely about that. So I'm excited and looking forward to Black Ops. I just don't want it to ever end. I don't want to ever end up in the dark days of Call of Duty where everyone had jetpacks and was running off the walls. God. And everyone was a friggin' cyborg. Like, I don't ever want to go back there. So as long as we stay far away from that, I look forward to the future of Call of Duty. And I do think that Warzone is going to be something that stays and sticks around regardless of whatever title release comes out each year.
Okay. I got a question for you to follow that up with, but before that, I feel like I have to explain, because when you said Captain Price, I had a visible freak out on camera.
Yeah.
So I feel like I have to explain my little visible freak out I had
Please
there.
do.
Me and my friend found out the other day, we know the guy. We like he put out a video on YouTube of him like doing his voice in the character talking to someone. And obviously like my friend Alex met him on set on some TV show like that they filmed out here a couple years ago, and you used to go to lunch with the guy, and like you're not gonna look up some dude's IMDb. It's just weird, you know what I mean? So just like we were shook, dude. We were like, we know this guy. Like that's the dude. Like it was the freakiest thing. I was like, wow, that's man, awesome. It's crazy. It's so crazy. That's awesome. But then yeah, my question to you regarding Warzone is, and this is something that I hope they do, because I hope that Warzone becomes its own standalone thing in the terms of downloads, because like Warzone is a big download considering you're downloading the base game of Modern Warfare as well, you know, and it's like a lot of, I'm sure a lot of the assets in the main game are being used in Warzone. I mean, obviously everything, but there's got to be some kind of like way that they can cut out the assets that they're not using and make the game a bit smaller. Do you think that they'll do that? Do you think Warzone will have its own standalone launcher at some point in time?
Yeah, I could see that ending up being the case, because it is starting to become a really freaking big game that takes up a lot of space. I could also see them doing, you know, for instance, like what Destiny 2 is going to do when they launch their newest expansion later this year. They plan on vaulting a bunch of content from the game. Like they're getting rid of like 2 planets, and a ton of the activities that come with those planets. They're just vaulting them completely because, first of all, nobody plays that content. Like it's useless stuff in there anyways. And second of all, just because the game is starting to get so huge that if they want to continue to evolve Destiny 2 and their plans are not to release a Destiny 3, then that's just what they have to do. But it's also vaulted, which means it can be brought out of the vault at any time. So I think that's a good idea, and I'm assuming that's what we might end up seeing at some point for Modern Warfare, or just for Warzone in general. They might get rid of some content that's in the game to then to then free up the space a little more and not make it a 500 gigabyte game essentially through all these updates. But at the same time, if you want a game to live on for who knows how many years, that's kind of what happens. They release these updates, they add more and more content into it, and the file size just gets bigger. That's just the way it works, unfortunately. So hopefully they find a middle ground, but yeah.
Yeah. I remember when Fortnite came out, that was like, when it first came out, it was like, I think it was like 14 or 17 gigs or something, and now it's about like sitting at somewhere about 50 gigs. Then again, on the opposite end of this conversation and discussion, I think of the reasons for them to not do that. Like I said, I would prefer if they made its own launcher, but one of the reasons I think that they won't do that is because they saw that, for instance, and this is definitely caught my eye, if you have the entire thing installed, buying the game, buying Modern Warfare is a lot more like, it seems like a good idea because it's like you already have the game installed. You already have the game downloaded. You know, all you have to do is pay for it, and then you can access the story mode and all the other multiplayer modes. And I think it's, with it being the most bought game last month, and look, because Warzone's free, you know what I mean? Like, people aren't buying Call of Duty to play Warzone. Warzone's free. So they definitely saw an increase in sales because the games are tied together. So it's one of those 50-50 things. I think further down the line, it will have its own standalone because, like you said, in order for it to grow on its own, I think that's possible. But then again, they're also like, they're definitely going to like plug the two together for the next game coming out as well.
100%.
Yeah. I'm probably going to buy the main game as well, just because I want to play the Assault game mode. The Assault multiplayer game mode looks really cool. The 2v2. That looks good.
Yeah.
Nice. All right. Moving on to the next thing. Disintegration is coming out next Tuesday. I got the review code. I haven't played anything past the tutorial. I played a little like a multiplayer against other people, and that was fun, but I haven't really gotten to the campaign yet. You know, it's coming out Tuesday. You know, we have The Last of Us Part 2 coming out next Friday. So it's trying to at least avoid that juggernaut that's coming. Have you guys heard anything about it, or are you guys looking forward to it? Because it's from one of the guys who created Halo, and it's like an FPS RTS.
Yeah. It's I mean, I played it I can't even remember when I played it. Oh yeah, I played it at PAX East, I think it was, earlier this year. And it's fun. Like, there's certainly some fun to be had. It's not a game that I'm going crazy about, or a game that I am like, this is day one purchase for me or anything like that. If the reviews end up coming out and it sounds really good, then maybe I'll consider getting it when it's like on sale or something, or when I know just I'll have the time to sink my teeth into it. But it's not a game that was on my list, you know, was something that I planned on buying. Absolutely, no doubt about it. And the launch trailer looks pretty cool, I will say. I mean, like, the game looks pretty fun, and I like the designs, and I like the world. I guess I just wish that there was a little more to it besides being on whatever the vehicles are called. You know, I wish there was a little more like, I wish there was a little more like ground combat in there. Maybe you could actually be one of the people that you control on the ground. That could have been fun, but I know that that's maybe just not realistic, and it's just too difficult to do something like that. I don't know. It looks like a fun game. Launch trailer looked pretty cool. I hope it ends up being good. Just not something that is something I'm looking forward to extremely.
Yeah, I think for me personally, I think I'm a fan of RTSs, but them being on consoles just doesn't seem to work. And I think that's one of the issues with this game is you have the little squad that you're kind of controlling as you are in your grab cycle from an FPS standpoint. But when you control them, you don't have that much control over them. You can send them to different places and fight certain people and target. Where in a real RTS, you need a keyboard and mouse because you can control each individual.
You can micromanage.
Yeah. And that's what it's about. And that's how you can get strategy and tactics, where this is kind of less. And I really do think it's a limitation of the controller, you know. It's RTS is mouse and keyboard. That's they were made to go together. So I think that's one of the main issues. But I haven't, to be fair, I haven't played through the game yet to fully judge, but that's just my initial reaction.
Have any of you guys ever tried out the Steam controller?
No.
What do you mean?
It's an interesting like the actual controller that they released, it's like there's no buttons on it. It's like touch sensitive, so that it's made for mouse and keyboard games kind of working better. so that you're like where the buttons would be on a controller. It's just these like touch sensitive pads that you can use, kind of like so that you can have more control over the mouse. And it actually worked. Like when I tried it out a couple years ago, it was actually quite good for RT. I played StarCraft on it, and it was working fairly well. You know, I mean, it's one of those things where I was like very slow with it, but I'd imagine that if I spent enough time to get used to the Steam controller, it would be quite cool to use for RTS games. When Disintegration when they dropped their video last year, I was excited for it because I was like, this is something new, this is something interesting. And like you said, you don't really see RTS games on console. And I was excited for it, but now I have a PC. So it's like, if I'm going to play an RTS game, I'm going to play I think the first thing I installed on this computer was StarCraft 2. It's nice. Like I'd rather just play an actual RTS, you know, than this. It doesn't. I don't know. I had more excitement last year. I'm not as excited now. It's one of those games where I genuinely don't know. You know what I mean? Like I don't know what it's. I don't think it doesn't look like the type of thing that would get a sequel. You know what I mean? Or any like other extra games that I don't know. There's not as much hype around it as what you would think.
Right.
Yeah. All right. Some minor stuff here and there. Control is, that was my favorite game of the year, and I think IGN's best game of the year. They've confirmed it for PS5 and Xbox Series X.
Nice.
It already had ray tracing on the PC version, so it's not that big of a leap, going to PS5 and Xbox Series X. Star Wars Squadrons, which is supposed to be the spiritual sequel to the Star Wars Rogue Squadron series, is the trailer's coming out on Monday, so we'll probably get the trailer plus some more details. So looking forward to that. This one, Caboose, you sent me, which is AT&T is looking for a buyer for their Warner Brothers gaming division for about $4 billion. And you have Take-Two Interactive, EA, Activision, Blizzard all expressing some interest. They have certain titles they own, which are like Mortal Kombat and Harry Potter Wizards Unite. I guess AT&T is just looking for a buyer.
This is huge. Now, this is like a very businessy side of the games industry, or just like industries in general, that I'm not fully well versed in. And so, a question that I want to ask Dennis, because I assume someone like yourself would know a little more. Could this result in like a lot of job loss? Like, is this something that is not necessarily like worrisome as a whole, because maybe it gets bought out by one of these other publishers and could be a good thing? Although those 3 listed publishers that are interested, I am not the biggest fan of in terms of owning WB games. But could this result in job loss? Is this something that?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Because what happens is when these companies get bought by other larger companies. I mean, it even happens when you have regime changes within same companies. Is right. Projects get axed. Yeah. They take a look at them like, well, we're not really interested in that. So they'll take a look at all the games and properties that Warner Brothers Games has, and they'll be like, okay, well, obviously Mortal Kombat we're keeping because that thing makes is big, makes a lot of money. Yeah. Harry Potter. But then they'll start looking at some of the other ones and be like, well, this one is like only a quarter into development and it doesn't really look promising from our end. So they just axe it or cut it,
Man,
so
that really makes me wonder, because obviously the rumors are that like WB Montreal's making another Batman game, and I gotta wonder what the plan is. I can't imagine that a game like that gets axed.
No.
Because it's even if it didn't look promising, it's like it's Batman, Yeah. So they would probably want to release that. But I don't know. There are people that I've met over my time doing content creation that work at WB Games, and I'm hoping and wishing them all the best. I hope that this doesn't end up being worst case scenario. I mean, from what I read here in the article, it says that no deal is assured or imminent. Yeah. Said 2 people who were on the inside, speaking of the fact that Take-Two, EA, and Activision Blizzard were looking to, or were expressing interest in buying the division. But there was something I said a lot earlier in the show, and I want to reiterate it now that I have the context regarding what I was saying earlier. I was mentioning how Xbox has an opportunity here. to get a hold of some really huge IPs. They have an opportunity. If Xbox wanted to explore the interest in this, they have an opportunity to get something like Batman, Mortal Kombat, and maybe even whatever Rocksteady is working on exclusively on the Series X or the Xbox One. And if Phil Spencer has any cells in his head, in his brain, he is thinking about it. Because right now, if I was a general consumer, I am buying a PlayStation 5. Mm-hmm. I want Spider-Man. Horizon Zero Dawn looks great. The promise, or at least the likely possibility that a new God of War game is coming. Everything else, I'm getting a PlayStation 5.
Oh my God.
But
dude, so go ahead.
If Xbox wants to fight here, if they want to pull up the gloves and get ready to go, you get Batman exclusively on Xbox. That's how you fight back. You get Mortal Kombat exclusively on Xbox with Killer Instinct. If they release another Killer Instinct, every fighting game fan is getting an Xbox. That's how you battle back. I'm telling you, it is a possibility. Yes, the article says that Take-Two, EA, Activision are looking to, are expressing interest, but I see a scenario where Xbox or Microsoft is interested, and I hope so. Because I do not want all three of those companies listed, all three of those publishers listed, while they've gotten a little better, are all publishers that have been under fire all the time for microtransactions in their games. Take-Two, I think they're with Rockstar, right? With GTA Online, some really controversial comments been made by them.
Gambling.
EA, I don't really think there's too much. I say the words EA or the letters EA, and immediately you know all the controversy that comes from that. And Activision Blizzard, again, while they've gotten better and they've put out really good products like a Call of Duty Modern Warfare. I disagree
on that.
Okay.
I think Blizzard has put out pure trash for the past couple of years.
They have definitely not done the greatest of jobs. But they've also had, Call of Duty, which has been very successful. And to finish my point, they've had Call of Duty, with Activision and everything. Those games still very heavily feature microtransactions and very heavily, and while they're cosmetic, still a lot of avenues for people to just keep spending money. And even then, WB Games now has been criticized for microtransactions. Imagine what these games could look like under an EA or a Take-Two or an Activision Blizzard. I'm telling you, it could be disastrous. So if Xbox, if they're smart, if Phil Spencer is smart, he knows that this is a massive opportunity. With a Batman game rumored to be on the horizon, imagine they get it exclusive to Xbox. I don't know how that's going to work. I'm assuming if it is coming out anytime soon, that a lot of work has gone into the game to be cross-platform and to work on other consoles, but maybe for the next one, or maybe for whatever Rocksteady's planning on working on, you can get those exclusive to Xbox. That's a huge win. And that will get people buying some Xboxes over PlayStations. Because Senua's Saga, it looks cool. That's not going to beat out something like a Horizon Zero Dawn 2. That's not going to beat out something like a Spider-Man Miles Morales. That's just the facts,
Yeah. Microsoft did something similar with whatchamacallit, Obsidian. When they bought Obsidian and Outer Worlds was in development, it was released on multi-platform, even though Microsoft owned, because all the work had already been put into it. So something like that would probably happen. And then, like you said, the next version would be exclusive only to Xbox. And yeah, that would be a power move. That would be like, here's these games. I mean, imagine if you were a Mortal Kombat fan and you had to play every single game and it was exclusive only on Xbox. I mean, you'd have to get an Xbox. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I think that'd be a good move on their part. Let's see if they actually actually do it though.
Yeah, the Lego games too. Like that's a whole audience to tap into as well. There's some serious potential here. It's just the only thing I hate talking about it, with the caveat being that people might lose their jobs here, which is going to be a very unfortunate thing. And I don't know. It says it's not assured. It's not actually like it's not guaranteed that they're going to make the sale. And if it is even going to happen, it's not like happening tomorrow. So we'll see. I'm sure this is something that you guys and myself are going to keep a close eye on. But yeah, I do feel really bad if people are going to be losing their jobs here, because that, of course, is an unfortunate thing.
Yeah.
I think of in terms of, I mean, especially like fighting games on its own being a huge genre is also has been for a long time, has been a huge esports genre. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So for Mortal Kombat, if Mortal Kombat had to move to Xbox, if like, I mean, once again, these people aren't listed, but if Xbox has any brains, they would, and if they have the funds, they would do this. Like
they definitely have the funds.
It's a no-brainer.
Yes.
It's a no-brainer. This acquisition for Xbox would be a no-brainer. Like they should just do it. But I think of the amount of people that like would have to go over. Like in terms of like your fighting games on PlayStation, you're probably always gonna have Tekken and like Marvel vs. Capcom, those kinds of things as well. But dude, especially with the Mortal Kombat movie, which we haven't spoken about in a long time, but Mortal Kombat, they were casting Mortal Kombat. Like I remember seeing the actual breakdowns for Mortal Kombat a couple years ago. They had said it was Untitled Project, but then they listed the characters, and I was like, come on. So we know a Mortal Kombat movie is going to come, and that's just going to get even more people playing Mortal Kombat. So that's a huge win right there. It would make, if any of these other companies, like the reason I hate Acti Blizzard is because they've personally screwed me out of my money so many times. Like I have a personal vendetta against Acti Blizzard. I used to be a huge Blizzard fanboy. I looked up to Blizzard. I looked up to Blizzard as a company, being one of the top tier companies, and now I just think of Blizzard as trash. And I think of it's because of Activision's involvement in Blizzard that they're trash. Warcraft 3 Reforged, or better known as Warcraft 3 Refunded, that pissed me off. Diablo Immortal, the mobile game, that pissed me off. I mean, look, they gave us some gameplay for Diablo. Yeah, they gave us some gameplay for Diablo 4. It looks good, but we're not going to see that for a while. And they're just not bringing out new IPs, man. Like the last new IP they had was Overwatch, and that's getting a sequel. Cool, but it's like, man, give me something good here. Like, don't give me a Warcraft 4, you know, bring out another RTS game. Like, give me a StarCraft 3, you know, come on. Like, if you're not going to bring out new IPs, at least give us like sequels that we want and things that are of quality, not where you're refunding people and completely screwing with people. I guess out of the 4 companies that are looking at the acquisition right now, if I had to choose the lesser of 4 evils, I'd have to go for Take-Two Interactive, I think, personally. Out of all those people listed. But like you said, I think the best option would be for Xbox to do this. Like it's a no-brainer, you know?
They got the funds. They got the money. If they want to do it, they can do it. I think just Phil Spencer's got to ask Satya Nadella and convince him that that's in Microsoft's future. If gaming is in their future and they plan to be in it for the long haul, then it makes sense for them to do. I mean,
they acquired quite a few studios last year. They acquired quite a few just to make sure that they have some kind of exclusives on their platform. So hopefully they're still thinking like that and they can take a look at this. Then again, I mean, this is a $200 billion deal. It's not going to happen overnight. You know what I mean? So many negotiations are involved, so many back and forth, people re-editing their contract, sending it back and forth. Like it's that would suck. Yeah. And it's out of all the companies, I feel like Microsoft, Xbox would treat the IPs a lot better, you know what I mean? And they would hold on to the IPs, I think, for the sake of having exclusives, like you said. AT&T is not going to care. They're not going to care who they axe.
They don't care.
They don't care at all.
Yeah.
Take-Two Interactive will only hold on to the IPs for the sake of money. Same with EA, and then Acti Blizzard will probably drop the majority of those IPs because they don't really care about new IPs. But yeah, like you said, it's a no-brainer, man. I'm particularly excited, not as much as you, Caboose, but I'm particularly excited for a new Batman game because it has been a while. Arkham VR was enjoyable. Arkham Knight was a so-so game, you know what I mean? I enjoyed it, but it was more like a car game than a Batman game, but I enjoyed it, you know? I like the story. The thing is, though, if this happens, just imagine this. Imagine EA does this acquisition, and then things like, oh, you want Robin? You want Robin in your game? Paywall.
$5, yeah.
You want Poison Ivy? Paywall.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
What are you
it's gonna be
talking
brutal,
about? It's
man.
like, you want Batman? $10.
Yeah. And granted, that did happen for
What?
like they did Nightwing and all that. I remember with Arkham City, and they were like paid, and they're like they paid characters and all that stuff. But I know exactly what you're talking about, because I think in Arkham Knight they were all just playable. You know, besides maybe it was Red Hood, who was the pre-order bonus, and then they had the Harley Quinn, or no, Harley Quinn was the pre-order bonus, and then Red Hood was just like a separate expansion or something, or was it a GameStop? Man, I can't remember. That game came out 5 years ago. But I remember there were a couple of paid characters, but there were also a bunch of just free characters. Like I think Catwoman, Robin, Nightwing were free. And those are characters that were just available to you from the get-go. And yeah, under the acquisition of something like a like a Take-Two at EA or whoever, we could see something like that. And that scares the hell out of me. People are also mentioning stuff like, you know, they don't want to see something like Mortal Kombat become a yearly franchise. Listen.
Oh yeah.
I'm a fan of Mortal Kombat. More Mortal Kombat is great and all, but a Mortal Kombat game every year is just not realistic. It's not realistic. Yeah, it's
no franchise should be yearly. That's my opinion.
Yeah, none. Oh. It's so this is I don't know. This is really scary. If Xbox is smart though, they got to be thinking about it. They got to be thinking the same thing that I said. They have to be in their head like, you know, PlayStation's got Spider-Man. We could have Batman. We could take DC and let that be our thing. And I think that would be smart on their end. I hope that this just doesn't happen for a while, because if there are any projects, like, I don't know what Rocksteady is working on. I have no clue. There are rumors left and right. But if they're working on something that's a DC project, it's probably not going to come out for a little bit still. And I wouldn't want to see a scenario where that gets canceled, where the project gets canned. You know, I want to see good games from these great developers. Whatever this Batman game is, that is probably a Batman game from WB Montreal. They've been teasing since September of last year. I want to see it. And I don't know. This is scary news. This is scary news for sure.
All right, the last piece of news we got, Josh had sent in Gods and Monsters gameplay leaks due to was it on Stadia? A Stadia bug?
Yeah, Stadia bug, yeah.
Google Stadia.
Yeah. So,
I mean,
I didn't even know it was that far along to be on, you know, any platform.
I agree. I mean, look, it's only a 30-second clip, but it's just I thought I'd show you guys because, dude, this is straight up Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Like, I know we said that when we saw the trailer, but now that I'm seeing the actual gameplay, like, come on, man. Like, I'm excited for it anyway because it's a great game, and I like that other games are looking at that type of... I'm glad a lot of other studios looked at Breath of the Wild and said, wow, we need to make our own Breath of the Wild. I'm not completely against it. A lot of people are. If it's done well, I'm excited, but this looks meh. You know, it looks whatever. If you're gonna do a Breath of the Wild game, make it look stunning. You give it something different. The combat is obviously different, but there's too many similarities here, man. Like it's shocking. Yeah.
From what I'm looking at, that was the immediate first thing that came to my mind too. Was this is Breath of the Wild. It just doesn't get that pop that Breath of the Wild does. You know, when you look at that game, you're just like, wow. And granted, this is a 30-second clip from one small portion of the game, so I don't want to make my judgment on the entire game based on just this. But just this doesn't look the greatest to me.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but I can imagine that the developers are not very happy with Google Stadia right now.
Well, here's the
a lot
thing.
of people aren't happy with Google Stadia right now.
Yeah. Here's the thing. I'm still going to play the game. You want to know why? Because I don't have a Nintendo, because I don't have a Switch. So that's why, like, I mean, it's just going to be nice to be able to play a game that's like Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild on a console I actually own. You know what I mean? That's the only reason that I'll play this is, unless I get a Switch before this game comes out, I'll most likely play it.
All right.
Oh, wow. Before we end, sorry to cut you off here, but apparently on Play Asia, I'm not sure what this website is or if it's legitimate, but the PlayStation 5 is apparently up for pre-order and it's listing at $699 US.
Oh, that was incorrect. They had to do an apology statement.
You're talking about the Amazon thing, right? Because I know what you're
the Amazon leak. Yeah,
but this is from Play Asia. I'm seeing this literally just now on my.
Oh
damn!
If that's the
timeline.
case. You said $6.99.
That's so the picture I'm seeing on screen right now. This comes from a Twitter user known as Wario64, who I think is like an insider. The picture they're showing, it says US $6.99. I will link it. I'll link it for you guys.
I mean, that is.
If this is true, we don't know. This could be another same situation or same scenario with Amazon. So I don't want to like immediately be like, oh yeah, this is true. But man, oh man,
I mean,
that's big.
That's all those people that are super excited. Just
we'll see. I guess this is. I think that because of these leaks too, Amazon and now this, I think that the announcement probably is coming soon from PlayStation. Especially if this isn't. Yeah. Especially if this isn't true, as well as the whole Amazon debacle. They probably are going to be back into a position or back into a corner where they're like, well, shoot, we have to tell them what the actual price is going to be. Otherwise, they're going to be misled or they're going to be deceived by these random websites, you know? So I could see that being a scenario. But if it ends up being $6.99, that is steep.
That's really steep.
I mean, part of the reason why, obviously exclusives were a big deal, but part of the reason why Xbox lost the last generation is that they launched $100 more expensive because they had the Kinect. Like you had to have the Kinect with it. $6.99. That's even, let's say the disc-less version is $100
like
cheaper.
$500.
That's still $5.99. That's still $600. That's still too much money. I mean, you're disappointed. You're not gonna get mass audience with that type of price.
Yeah, let's see how this is gonna be, but that's gonna be tough. I think just in general though, just because of the sheer amount of power and tech that's going into these next gen consoles, I think that people are going to have to now brace themselves that these consoles are not going to be like the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox where they were like $400 or $500. They're going to be like Xbox. If this ends up being true, Xbox is probably going to be $599. It'll be $600. But that's still $600 you're dishing out.
To me, the only way they can get away with this is that both PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X, the highest price they could go is do $499 for the digital only version.
Yeah,
$599 for the disc version. That's like, I think the absolute highest they can go to get like actual mass market interest in it, because 699 people are not, parents will be like, all right, Timmy, you can still play on your PS4
right
or Xbox
you guys
One.
think you're gonna have it bad though in the US? It's almost it's coming up to $1,000 Canadian.
Same here where I am in South Africa.
For you as well.
It's about the exact same. Yeah, that's crazy.
Brutal.
Yeah. It's just
while we're on the topic here, I actually, just because I'm looking up this stuff and I saw some information about the Xbox Series X that I didn't know about, is that it has these storage expansion slots on the back. Have you guys seen those? No. It's like it almost looks like an old school PlayStation 2 memory card.
Yes.
Yeah, you plug into the back of your Xbox. They're showing one here that's like a terabyte large, but it looks like it'll probably fit in the palm of my hand. That's just cool though. That's convenient.
Yeah, it's cool. So, but the thing was, I think some people were a little misled by that, because some people were thinking that it replaces hard drives or external hard drives. I think from what I understand, you can still use an external hard drive for an Xbox, but those little memory card things, I think those are SSDs. So that's like, if you use a hard drive, you're going to get not the greatest, like you're not going to get the exact performance that is optimized with the Series X that you would if you were to use those little memory cards for additional space. Yeah. They are cool though. I like them.
Cool. Yeah. All right. Before we go, let's just tell everyone what we've been playing. Let's start off with you, Caboose. What have you been playing recently?
I have been playing a lot of Mortal Kombat, of course, since the expansion had launched. They released that DLC. So I've been just very deep into that. I've been playing a little bit of Warzone. I kind of stopped. Well, not stopped, but like didn't play as much when Mortal Kombat 11's DLC dropped. So, a little bit of Warzone here and there. and I'm getting back into Spider-Man. Actually, I'm thinking about doing a little replay of it to just get myself hyped up again for the new release. So that's what I'm playing.
Nice, Josh.
Been playing a lot of Minecraft because I've been playing it with my nephew. It's just a good way to bond with my nephew, and it's like I said before, it's a very relaxing game. It helps me with my anxiety, and well, today I spent the whole day trying to figure out ray tracing Minecraft because I know I have the ability to do it, but it's complicated to set up. So I'm trying to figure out how to do ray trace Minecraft. Other than that, I've been playing a lot of Warzone. Not really this week, but for the most part, I've been playing a lot of Warzone, and then. What else was it? Oh yes, I got back into Infamous Second Son. I never got to finish it before, so I'm busy playing Infamous Second Son. I was craving like a superhero type game where you got powers and stuff, you know. Got into that. I've been enjoying that. But now that I got my PC yesterday, I'm probably going to be switching to a lot of MOBAs. I'll probably be playing a lot of League of Legends, Dota, Smite. I enjoy good MOBAs, and then I'll be playing a lot of Counter-Strike Go, the Global Offense. I'll be playing that right after the stream, actually.
Nice.
Cool.
What about you, Dennis?
I mean, I just, like I said, just finished playing Last of Us, the part 1 plus the DLC Left Behind, which I thought was fantastic. Just in preparation for Last of Us Part 2. Then I decided to, for some reason, go back and play Alan Wake, which is one of my favorite games. It's weird because I played it on the Xbox 360, you know, and then I remember there was like this sale for it on the PC on Steam like a long time ago because like they were losing the music rights. So they were like, quick, buy it while you can. And so I did, even though I had played it and beat it, bought it, and then didn't touch it, never touched it until basically a few weeks ago and decided, you know what, I'm just going to play it again. And I was telling Josh, it was just funny seeing like how much the graphics have improved when you play a PC version versus a console version, because you can update all the textures and lighting and all that stuff.
Yep.
And so much so that the
character model
graphics, the graphics in game were better than the pre-rendered quote unquote CG cutscenes that they had. So I just finished playing that again. It's not a long game. It's like 12 hours or something like that. I just got Spider-Man Switch, so I'm going to play that for the first time. I ordered Horizon Zero Dawn, ordered Uncharted series, so I think my next step will be, also I got Disintegration. I played a little bit of that. But really, I'll probably play maybe a little Spider-Man before getting, I don't know if it's a good idea though. Should I play? There's no way I'm finishing Spider-Man between now and the time Last of Us Part 2 comes out. So I'm wondering if I should hold off on Spider-Man and wait till after so that when I play it, it's in one big chunk instead of splitting it apart.
I mean, yeah, that probably could be the best case scenario. Then if you're going to really dive deep into Last of Us 2, then yeah, probably wait to play Spider-Man.
I'm looking at the date right now, and I think the same thing. Just you don't want to like, because Spider-Man's an amazing game. And you will be hooked. And then it's like, you're going to be thinking of like, you're going to be playing The Last of Us and you're going to be thinking of Spider-Man. And then when you're playing Spider-Man, you're going to be thinking of The Last of Us. And you don't want to be in that situation.
Yeah. I tend to like to play one game all the way through and then move on to the next. I mean, obviously there's exceptions, which are like games that aren't story-based, you know? Like if you hopping on Apex Legends or Fortnite or Call of Duty Warzone, it's like, that's different because that's you go play that for a while. It doesn't matter, you know. You're not following some story or whatever. If you're playing those type of games. So yeah, that's what I'm playing. So all right, let's just we've been talking for a while. Just had so much to talk about. What's up? Yeah,
2 super quick things just worth mentioning. League of Legends, the animated TV series. Or is it? I don't know if it was a TV series, but the animated is it? Yeah, it is the animated series. The animated series got delayed to next year because of obviously the pandemic. And then I thought it was also worth mentioning that Spellbreak, which is a great like wizard mage type battle royale, it is heading to Xbox One and Nintendo. Currently, it's only on PC and PlayStation, but it's heading to Xbox soon. And yeah, it's an interesting take on battle royale. It's like any other battle royale, but you know, you're a wizard or a mage and you're using spells. It's pretty fun, actually.
Cool.
All right, I guess that's it. Josh, where can people find you?
You guys can find me on Instagram at josh.toki. You guys can find me on Twitch starting next week at josh_toki.
Caboose?
Yeah, you can find me Twitter and Instagram at CabooseEK. And yeah, I'm also on Twitch as well, CabooseEK.
Cool. Thanks for joining us, you guys. You guys can follow me on Twitter at TheHero, Instagram, Dennis.tzng. Make sure to subscribe to this YouTube channel, youtube.com/Collider Games, also on the Collider Factory podcast feed. And we're here every single week. So until next time, and next time we talk, Last of Us Part 2 will have just come out, and hopefully we'll be played at least a little bit of it and talk about our first impressions. All right, until next time, see you guys later.